Say hi, Eddie.
Hi.
It's my first time hosting on camera. I mean,
Give her a round of applause, actually. She did a Wait. That was bad.
We live, we learn, we grow together. Welcome to Gen-Z Talk Timor-Leste. Lorong, how saya isang host by Tanya, guest speaker Edilberto, and hangin narang Ella, guys, by the way, and I'll leave the floor to you to introduce yourself a little bit.
For sure. Thanks, Ella, for having me. Hello, podcasters da rona Ella. Hangin narang Edilberto. I use him pronouns no agora da ao finalizar no estudo e a área ciência política nomos sociologia.
Ooh, wow. Okay, and itanya topic ko ohin lorong niya, youth in politics. No, itanya tema ohin maka. What's our tema? Tell them our tema.
Youth participation and youth involvement in politics.
Suramos amnya liang iya decisão politika. Itanya exactly. Itanya tema ohin lorong niya, Eddie.
So okay. Interesting.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure is.
Okay, so before we start our serious conversation, how karakatuhusu semak these three top people who influence you the most, yeah, imi-nia Morris.
If you ask me three, I'm gonna give you for Ella. First is probably Marcus Aurelius. Niya hanes Greek philosopher da make hotu conhece e mundo philosophy. E depois Lee Kuan Yew. Former Prime Minister of Singapore, one of the greatest nation builder I know. I look up to him a lot when it comes to leadership. And last one is Noam Chomsky, and he is a modern day philosophist. I consider him to be that way, and he comes forward with a lot of great ideas and stands on contemporary issues. Issues like is conflito acontece daw Israel no Palestine, Noam Chomsky ia diálogo barbar teves com o tópico né e most uluk niya se Karik kita buat sila visitar YouTube kuliah sobre genocide nebe que acontece Cambodia, no most conflito nebe que acontece Timor-Leste. He gave a lot of talks in Harvard and they said a lot of universities about Timor, and I think he's one of those people that made the world aware that what was going on in our country and everywhere else around the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the top three, honestly speaking, I only know Lee Kuan Yew.
But I mean, who doesn't know Lee Kuan Yew, right? I mean, damn, guy's amazing. I don't know. Everyone has an opinion about him, but I look up to the man.
Yeah, I think as the two, I knew them, but I don't really know them. I don't really follow them. But Lee Kuan Yew, of course.
Who doesn't know him?
Who doesn't know him, yeah?
And if you don't know him, that's okay. Go read his books or watch his videos, right?
Yeah,
it's not too late to learn.
I think right after this, I'll say buka tu ida naam ho ida follow
Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus, yeah. So guys, if you wanted to get inspired, hanesang Eddie who si sira na intolone, check those three out. Yeah. And okay, Eddie, you're doing. We did research a little bit about you, and of course, you told us today about political science and sociology, right?
Yep.
Well, that's why ami bolo niya mai hodi koalia sobre itanya tema ohin lorong no itanya topic ohin lorong youth in politics. Tamba, we feel that he would represent itanya voice ita sira be who are not background politics sira ne. Niya bele locate and dalang a little bit, haturita a little bit of what he's been learning and maybe his view on ita sira be interested in politics. Yeah.
Yeah. And before we dive in any further, I would just like to say anything that I say today in this podcast is solely my personal opinion, does not represent any of the institution that I'm affiliated with, and it also does not represent what my view for the next year, 5 years, long-term views and whatnot. So, it's on personal, present, yeah.
It's only on present. Saramak he believes right now.
Yeah. I mean, views change, right? That's true. Yeah. So
when facts change,
views do change. Yeah.
Fair enough. Anyways, okay, Eddie. So what motivates you really? Motivação saya makahalo Eddie karakatu hili political science, no sociology, Edine estudo agora não.
How idane mai kera susu familia, and I would always say that it all comes from family. I think it stems from the upbringing that I had, where my family was deeply involved in the public affairs and public service sector, where, you know, from my grandparents to my mom, they all serve as a practitioner in the field, and it gave me a exposure as a hare seda mag sirahalo, and I was like, I'm really inspired by what they do, and so that made me realize I wanna study this, and I wanna further pursue what has been, you know, running in the family, and I think it would be an honor for me to continue what my, you know, those who come before me have been doing, right? And if I can keep up with that, then I think that would bring a lot of personal satisfaction.
Nice.
Thanks.
Oh my God, it's called genes, guys.
I would say, yeah, genetically. Aside from family, I think genetically it all boils down to that.
It sounds like everything is like connected right now.
Yeah, it's in the DNA.
So like you feel connected when you're in a family conversation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I sense that. Okay, because you talk about like your family members have been, you know, doing what you're studying, so you feel connected with them. Now, what like issue sided it like resonates most with you, and how do you envision them through political engagement?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, as like a 20-something-year-old country, there's a lot of issues at hand, right? You can't really just solve everything all at once, or, you know, through one administration term. But isu social que resonate liho how mag inefficient public administration and the burden of lengthy bureaucracy, which basically means ita nya ineficiencia ya administração pública nomos birokrasi ne bekenaruk tebes. Agora buat ruane lori impacto ne beke buat tebes for everything in our governance. You know, inefficient public administration means that we may not be able to complete what we are aiming for in the first place. Policies don't come into fruition when you don't have an effective public administration, and that also creates its own like separate set of problems. And so I really think that public administration and bureaucracy is one of those issues that we change, that we face and continue to face and should try to solve.
So you're saying that inefficient administration is one of the problem that we continuously face because idatu continua ne ita lagi ideia nebe makanesang visão nebe makanesang no ida nessa nesang problema buat.
Yeah, and hamos senti kat Twitter studios barak. I think one of the latest one from World Bank is from 2019. Haturu katag Mahira nasaun sira nasaun developing countries as Timor-Leste and others within the region, when they improve their bureaucracy and public administration, that will yield significant outcome for economic growth, and it will attract investments, foreign investments, local investments, and it's good for the country overall. But then again, it's an institutional reform, right? So it comes from within, and so if the public administration itself does not change to be able to attract these investments, then I don't think, you know, there's a lot we can do to diversify our economy and all of those things that we envision our country to be. Okay,
we can sense that.
Yeah.
So speaking of all those that you've just mentioned, I think the following question, Atuhanesa, of what your answer is that you just gave, but I really wanted to ask you, what positive changes or improvement would you like to see in the local community or in a larger scale?
In the local community, and this is, I guess, targeting towards our youth demographic, right? People within our age, right? Okay. So I would say I would want to see a young generation that is highly educated and empowered with the right knowledge and skills to be able to make informed political decisions, so that that decision will eventually serve them and address the issues that they face. And so I think that if we do not have an informed population, especially the youth, if our youth are not knowledgeable of what political ideologies are, what each political party stands for, or what constitutes corruption, or what constitutes this, then it would be difficult for us to make informed decisions. And so, and that's the reality, unfortunately, that I see it, and this is a personal observation, is that most of our youth doesn't really have the knowledge that they require to be able to make those informed decisions, especially informed political decisions. And so it's a task for everyone, I think, for those of us who work in activism, for government. Everyone has a role to play in order to empower our youths, so that they can critically think and analyze what the issue is at hand, and then make a decision out of that.
Okay. So you think, so how do you think ita political involvement, youth ni political involvement bele can change all this?
I don't necessarily think it could change. Now I think, I don't believe in causation, so I don't believe that once the youth is empowered and once the youth is fully informed, then they would address all those issues and be able to create policy outcomes that address those issues. But it serves as a pathway towards that, and an important one that we should probably explore. And unfortunately, like I said, seeing the current situation at hand, that does not happen to be the reality at the current stage. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you think you think iha quota iha parlamento?
So with legislative representation, right? So parliamental legislative representation, I mean, we're making really, really good steps, like giving quotas for women. Women's participation in parliament are some of the highest in the region, as we know. In Southeast Asia, I believe, we're one of the highest legislative body represented by women. But that's the fruition of law, right? That dictates how much should women fill up the seats in the parliament. Now, when it comes to youth, I think it's a different question, because it's not a question of gender equality, but it's a question of if we are able to be taken seriously and given the space to represent ourselves and the views of others within the lawmaking and legislative body. And unfortunately, I don't see the case right now with the current representation that we have in the parliament. We have probably one or two per political party, as I think, member of parliaments that, age range from 20s to like 30s, but that's not the case for the rest of the body and the rest of the members of parliament. And so I believe that if we do give some quotas or some threshold in youth participation in parliament, I think it would be a good first step. It would be a good first step in ensuring that our voices are heard. And I'm not really sure about what the implications might be for that, but seeing from what has been done when it comes to addressing gender inequality, especially in the parliament, with giving women more opportunities to serve as members of parliament, I think it would be a right step to take. And I'm not sure if there's any other countries that you're aware of nebe kisira aplica quota ba youth when it comes to parliamentary participation.
I'm not sure, but no, not
really.
Not really.
Yeah.
But because ita rate in demographic.
Yeah.
Majority of 75% of our population, 74% of our populations are youth, and we have a lot of, I think, as a youth resources. Youth sira nebemaka have the knowledge and experience, maybe, to participate in legislative body, and I think like, ansa ita fo quota, ita sira se representa those 75%. I'm not sure if you observe, we talk about so much, a lot of so many different issues, but when it comes to like issues na befo in sasira hasoro, ita ladung kuliada. So if we have a quota, then do you think
we'll be able to represent those issues?
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely,
more clearly, more better, because I think Emma de Nebema ka hanesang people who go through it, who feel, let's say the pain or go through all that, sira magsehatene liu, hatene kolia liu kona basira ni issue rasik no bele foti solução de Nebema razoável, no most effective.
And it precisamos input to see, young people, because like you said, demographically speaking, young people makes up a huge chunk of our population, right? And so by not having those issues represented, especially in the lawmaking body, I don't think it's fair for us and for the rest of the youth. So you do have a really great point in that end, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Eddie. I think whatever you shared with us, Ohing, in our first session or in the first part, it's like, it concludes that you are interested. You are interested that youth should take part in the decision-making process. They should be involved, and our representation matters. And of course, ita must recognize itanian that there are parts of us that ita sidaw matak-tasak di dia ko di.
We're not ripe, and that's a political and legal term. Ripeness is like your level of maturity is also one, right? So you do have a really great point on that.
Yeah, ita si daw tasak di dia ko di lidera or hodi representa, but ausente I just feel like tempo agora ne ita precisa na. We already have those people to represent, and I think political parties should make use of these youths. And yeah, if we have quota, then we have more voices. They're really saying, "Tamba." I hope like the next following, benene ita say have quota ona, and that's manifestation.
Yeah, but one can only probably aspire or dream, right? It doesn't happen with the flip of a hand, But it's definitely something that should be considered and should be thoroughly studied before we bring it to fruition, right? And so, and I trust that whoever is, currently in the administration is able to make decisions based on the needs of our population, especially the youth.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Eddie. You gave us so much about political. You gave us so much information about all your research, husi World Bank niyan, husi situasaun niyan. Like you gave us so many perspective on that. Now, ita karaka tu tenemos desafio será maka Eddie enfrenta when he estuda political science, sociology.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot, but if you ask me just to pick one, and I think I will tell this like a story. Most like it, because when you know how começa on your studio, I hold a certain political ideology, I hold a certain political preference and political belief, right? And to be jumping into a field that requires you to be open, as centrist and as open-minded as possible into whatever inputs that might be coming from your left or right. It was really hard, and I struggled with that, and I do still up to this day. But as time progressed, how senti, and also maybe it all comes down to the dynamics. Higher academic setting, colégio or college, nebeke foster, on samak ita bele critically analyze all political opinions and all political preferences and ideologies, and I would say that I'm a better individual on that end when it comes to like being able to put myself in the middle and like, okay, this is the information coming from the left, and this information coming from the right, and based on those facts, I'm able to make inferences about what's the best course of action, and that could be about an opinion about a political decision, an opinion about a policy, or an opinion about how a policy should be, right? And so, and I think that's what all political scientists and all public administration practitioners should have, is that the impartiality and the willingness to put aside their whatever political leanings and preferences, and then use credible information from all ends and make accurate inferences and decisions out of that. And that's why people say like social science is an art, right? Because doing something like that requires you to sit down and use your, I guess I'm all a very left, all your brain cells. And sometimes, I think people take that for granted, like the importance of like just sitting down and critically think about something.
Okay, so basically saya mau kau ini hati-hati nih, banyak ni atau aku nih estudo. Niya sa bias loss, yeah, bias loss, but one thing, but then using estudo and everybody around him make how niya think more open and accept all opinions and try to sit there in a corner, not in a corner specifically, but tu dia pating ide hanesang arte ne beni hatete social science ne arte to really reflect.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, to really reflect kono ba in which place I'm standing and how bele observa, how bele hatohaw ni opinion. And it's also not because like you try to satisfy other people, but it's also like satisfy on your reflexion na rasik, yeah.
And I think this goes back to another Greek philosopher. I guess for one to be able to like reason out and challenge the thoughts that one hold before with whatever's currently available to him, is like one of the greatest victory a man can have. So I can accomplish. So I do believe in that. Like if you're able to challenge yourself, your past self, and like this is what I believed in the past, but with the current facts that is available in front of me right now, am I able to challenge my past self and create new inference out of that? So I think that's not all. I think all political scientists, all public administrators should be able to have that, but it does not stop with them. I think itanya cidadão ordinário seremos precisa iha skill dane hodi bele halo decisão política ne beke laws.
Nice, Eddie.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's a really good one. Oh my God. I love the fact that you take it as a story. Like initially, everything that you're currently doing is like literally as a connect. There's little dots that you're connecting it. Oh my God, I love that.
Thank you.
And so how do you think your involvement in politics or civic engagement could make a difference for both generations, like our generations now and our alpha?
General Alpha, the up and coming generation Alpha.
Yeah.
Okay. So my own or people around me?
For both, our as yours, and for the upcoming.
The first thing that comes to mind is tailored policies. Like, políticos que serve dunimba, população no povo sira. So, if we do not have youth representation, say in the lawmaking body, then sadly, the policies that come out of that chamber is probably not going to cater towards the young population, right? And that goes for everything else. So first of all, I think by having us, the young people, participate in government and lawmaking, it would mean that policy outcomes would be tailored towards us, and if by that time, say, Generation Alpha is coming and it's like they have these views, then we're able to represent that too, right? And so tailor those policies towards them as well. So that's the first one that comes to mind. Second one is having a diverse perspective. Now, a lot of people, especially these days, are very radicalized, and once they, like I said, once they hold a belief, they're probably gonna, stand on that and not challenge it, not consistently challenge those views. But by having young people within the sphere of lawmaking and governance, that means that we're bringing new, fresh perspectives. And like you said, earlier, that like we know the issues that we face and we know how to solve them, right? But if we're not represented, like we said many times, then how can those policies, be catered towards us? So when we go into the lawmaking chamber, that does not mean that we're there to change everything for the benefit of us, right? But that means that we're able to have our issues and thoughts being considered, so that whatever outcome that comes out of that foun is serve the best interest of everyone. And so I believe that having diverse perspective is a key component to a healthy legislative body. And also, last one is, I think by having young people involved in politics at any level, it builds engagement and trust, right, between this generation that has been serving us, from este tempo luta para independencia to agora. Because if we don't talk to each other, like if I don't have this conversation with, say, a leader that's 20, 30 years older than me, then how would they know what problems that I have? And how can we build that trust and that bond and that relationship? And so by working directly with, people of all age, it means that we're building that sense of trust and engagement, and it's mutual, right? It's because I trust you so that you will listen to me, and you've given me that same, we're reciprocating that same trust. And so that's the most important thing, and that applies to not just like demographic when it comes to age, but also like towards like everything, like gender, other social, for example, like religious beliefs and whatnot. And so, yeah, I think it would be real beneficial.
Okay, so like tailored perspective, diverse perspective, and of course engagement with the older generation. Like ita saya na isang bridge, yeah?
Yes.
Bridge mamalo. Bridge mamalo. We can also learn from each other, and then because we just think ita ni geração agora na ita always hanoin katak, the older generations na ita hanoin katak sira sentence sira mateneliu, but also there are things that we should learn from them. There are things that they should listen to us, to also get our perspective. And when you were saying about ita ni representative iyo mafukong ne, it's mostly basically hodi akomoda ita ni hanoin, no ita ni liang. And for that, we believe that with all the problems that we have, it can be brought to the table, and it could be discussed, and it could be maybe solutioned in some way, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think you've put it really nicely about like bridging, two different generations, and I think that's what everyone within that sphere of politics should have, that kind of mindset that like I'm there so that to connect with other people and bring the best possible outcomes to serve the common good. And so very well said.
So Hanesang, you consider yourself as an activist, like you write a lot of articles, kind of.
Well,
you've been raising awareness in several issues before you leave the country to study, right?
Yeah.
So what obstacles do you perceive in getting involved in politics? I know you're not really like outspoken, I would say, in social media or in anywhere, but I know you do write articles. And what are some of the obstacles or challenges you face, and how did you try to like overcome or address them?
God, this has happened recently, and it's another story that I don't know if we have the time to talk through. But This story was just very recent. I published an article, well, more of a mini research study, I would say. It was posted in SSRN. Maybe we could drop the link and friends could see it, podcasters. But basically, I did a simple analysis about impact of foreign aid to our country, and and it was done for a class, by the way. This is not for me just like, okay, I'm interested, randomly, but also if once you're passionate about the topic, then you go on and research about it, right? And so I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. Let me look into it. And then I did that research, presented it in class, and then I was like, let me publish it somewhere. And once I published it, let's just say that I've got a few emails, and which is very unexpected, because as a junior, I was in my junior year of undergrad, right? So I was not expecting people to notice that, wow, this is a student in college or a student as an undergrad writing this, right? But I received a lot of emails, not a lot, 3 or 4.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, yeah.
That's
but,
a lot.
Okay. Nonetheless, those emails, some of them are really positive. Some of them applaud the efforts that I've made in analyzing, despite having very limited data. But one of those emails, well, let's just say that it was really trying to contest what I wrote, and it's very normal in the world of academia, in the world of in doing scholarly work, right? You're always gonna have people who will be there to challenge those ideas that you propose. And so, but I found it that I think, well, this is from what I'm sensing, is we're not taking us seriously, and it's kind of sad. But once I was able to establish that, communication, engagement, and trust, that this is how I've come to conclude my research, and the other person was able to understand, oh wow, finally, wow, I'm understanding you. So, and I think this goes back to, I think, one of those books that we've read, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, where you seek to be understood first, you seek to understand before being understood first, right? And so I think within that interaction I've had with the person through email, we've exchanged ideas, and I've cleared up a lot of the, not misconceptions, but a lot of the questions that arise from their end, and we ended the discussion on a good note, on a good term.
That's good.
But I just wish that people does not view our work as less of an importance, or making less of an impact towards.
Well, lady, if somebody reached out to you about what you wrote, you're important.
I don't know.
Let me just make that clear for you.
I don't know.
Important. That's you actually interest them in a way that they question you, or they reach out to you. That's something. Not everybody could do that, right? Not everybody could, take their time with lay those, 12,
it was a
15,
10-page paper.
Yeah, 10, 12 pages. Depois I reach out, is no, they are interested. They try to question,
and I'm glad.
because
I'm glad. Yeah. But like I said, I just wish people take us more seriously.
So the person that was reaching out.
No, let's not talk about the person. I don't want to, but it's just what I'm speaking, I guess, on behalf of everyone else is that, and I think this applies to a lot of up and coming researchers, especially in the area of public policy. A lot of times, once they bring in those analysis and reports, immediately whoever is in the administration would try to deny whatever is being brought to the table, and I think that's just not the right way to do things. I think we should be able to build that sense of trust, that we're willing to listen to each other, and then make the best possible outcome. So yeah, and I think I'm saying this on behalf of number of other writers, researchers, activists, etc. in the field.
Which is outside of our control, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah.
What is within our control is what we try to get out, and if people perceive it in a good way, then they do it, and if not, then it should be a good critic for us, you know, to get it better.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Very well said.
So, I think the challenges that Eddie oiha atoma itane, it's mostly an esang be typical challenges. Yeah. You don't want to share with us like some of the real specific challenges that you face when you wanted to be involved in politics, or you have not even tried to be like, hey, I wanted to be involved in politics, but in this type of way. What do you think about that?
Okay, that's a very, it's a very murky water to explore, I would say. But if I'm able to navigate this nicely, I think I would say the current political dynamic in our country forces us to make premature decisions. Decisions and premature political decisions based on feelings and not logical reasoning. And so that is a big obstacle for everyone, I think, especially in the young in the youth demographic, is because if you're able to, I guess, if you are a political player, political actor, and you're able to like harness, the power of like persuasion through feelings and not through logic, I think you've probably done something, that serves your interest and not the interest of the people, and I think that's the biggest hindrance to, I guess, for me, for other people who are somewhat educated on the topic, on the field. It's like, okay, so I know that this is not right, and I know that this is coming straight from like feelings and not based on logical reasoning, but what can I do when the masses is believing on that, So yeah, I think I'm just going on a tangent about things that's not important, but that's how I feel.
Okay, I mean, it's good to hear from someone, someone who is in a field of political science to actually tell us that. I mean, I don't understand most of the things that everybody, I think, hotu feel. Yeah, a lot of young people who wanted to be involved in politics, they feel, but then we still have like those radicalism, those biasness, and you said people who only uses their hearts, not their logic, and because we are young people and we want to make sure that we live in a better future of the country, we try to look out for that, and of course, thank you for, I think, sharing that to us and going around
for sure
with us. We have come to an end of our main discussion. Agora ita say muda ba ita niya next session, which is rapid fire question.
Oh.
Are you sure you're ready?
Yes.
I think we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
It's only a yes or a no.
Okay.
Quick and no explanation. Thank you.
Okay. Simple para dan jelas.
Simple para dan jelas. Okay. Statement primeiro. Joven-nia bele perspectiva foun ba assunto politika.
Sim. Yes.
Influência média social, bele foi impacto bot ba Joven-nia ni envolvimento politika.
Yes.
Okay. Partido político tem que halo esforço dia a tu recruta no for suporta ba candidato Joven-nia.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Tem que a quota reserva ba político Joven-nia e estrutura legislativo.
Can I abstain on this?
No.
Okay, I would say yes.
Why though?
No, yeah, but go ahead.
Okay, we should have next conversation about that.
We will.
Ia falta representação da perspectiva Joven-nia e o processo de decisão política.
Major yes.
Sistema educação atual efetivo e hodi hanoin jovens ira com a processo política.
Unfortunately, no.
That's it for our rapid fire questions,
Thanks, guys.
Well, we should have that conversation like right after this.
Off camera.
Off camera. Because I think it's interesting, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're coming to the end already.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Of course, Eddie, do you enjoy the conversation?
So much. I learned from you, Ella. Like I always do. I mean, if you were to see us hanging around in a coffee shop, it's probably talking about the same thing. I don't know. I always feel empowered when I'm with you and like exchanging ideas. So.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Is it like, are you being serious?
I am. Why would I even joke around today or here? And you know me. I'm not a person who is like.
Oh nah.
Yeah. The last.
Well, I mean, thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie, for filling our session today. It's my first time hosting on camera. I mean,
give her a round of applause. Actually, she did such a good job.
I mean, we did it often in online, right? I mean, sempre halo here Zoom, and you know, when you're in your room, you're so comfortable. And now that I'm in front of you, face to face, listening like directly from you.
Yeah.
Of course, I just wanted to let you know that I've learned a lot from you. As always, this has always been the conversation. When we come to this topic, I'm tena who to call. It was you. It was like you were the right. I mean, Gen-Zer.
Nah, like I said, I'm just here to represent everyone else behind the camera. There's probably people that, you know, is more qualified to sit here than me. So you guys know yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, no, at the same time, yeah.
What do you mean?
Also, you are here because we trust you that you could share with us some of the knowledges that you've acquired in the studies you're doing, but also like your opinion in general. And everybody have their own opinion and perspective towards youth in politics and hotu direito. You know, I think this is one of the most serious topics. All the topics are serious, but like something intense. But when we were talking about it, it just felt like, oh wow, this is like a lot. Yeah. But yeah, of course, thank you so much for coming to Gen Z Talk. I think we've hosted you a few times. Hey. One or two, right?
I don't know. No, I can't count.
Yeah, a few sessions. I mean, a few programs or actividades balong na behalo your Gen Z account. I think you've been there.
Yeah. Yep.
And of course, welcome back, and we really appreciate your sharings with us today. Espera kata kolega sira na bema agora na daw assiste hela. We get a little bit of knowledge to see Eddie, and if you have anything to share with us, of course, you can share it to us in the comment section. Ami sempre open for, you know, critics, open for, you know, hanoin, perspectiva, opinion, sira na bema, komentariu sira na bema kimi hakara katotoba Gen Z, and we're so grateful that we have this community to accommodate young people, especially Gen-Zers. Gen-Zers.
Emphasis on the duh.
And of course, Espera kata, you know, this space we can accommodate more people here, and we can share with everybody in the community. And Eddie, do you have any messages by tanya Gen Z or sila na ba? Cause
don't be afraid to get involved in politics. Get in action now.
Oh my gosh! Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
Oh my God, Eddie.
Anyways.
Oh, that's power though.
Yeah, no, we are.
Exactly. Involve tanya
terjun ke dunia politik biasa kan ambil yang mambai. Anyways.
Okay. Labela tahu hodi involve ang politika. Yeah, and it's in any type and in any form.
And it could come in just by listening to the news, going into vote, going into vote, going into campaigns, rallies, whenever you can participate in shaping the political dynamic, go for it. You have the space, you have the power, and you're entitled to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot, everybody, for tuning
Thanks
in
a lot,
today. You can follow Eddie. Do you want people to follow your socials or?
No, it's okay. I'll leave it to Ella.
So it's private. But of course, you can always reach out to us if anything you want us to connect you with Eddie or any specific questions referred by Eddie or Gen-Z, you can always reach out to us at Gen-Z Talk Timor-Leste. We have Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And yeah, we look forward to hearing those comments, opinions, and all those rants or all those hanoin sila na bema imi-nia. Put it on the comment section or anywhere you could reach out to us, and we will always accommodate you. Thank you so much, Eddie, for joining us today.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks,
we'll
everyone.
See you again
Bye.
in our next video. Bye.
Bye.